What's up, everybody? The Red Dragon here, and today we've got Alpine Gremlin on the show.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So Alpine, he is a tank maniac. He's always in a tank driving, so he's got a lot of tips that he's going to talk about. What do we got on the list?
Well, first I'm going to go ahead and talk about the importance of having a gunner in your tank. There are several advantages to doing this. First off, you've got extra firepower and an extra set of eyes. Let's say you're fighting with a tank and, infantry comes up out of the bushes, you can't really focus on both at once. So what you can do is just have your gunner, suppress them or cut them down. That way, you'll be able to focus on the main threat, which is the tank, and he can take away that extra distraction for you. In addition, just spotting in general, I've been saved many times by my gunner, who has called out threats to me that I wouldn't have seen normally. You've just got that extra advantage, you don't have to worry about watching every single point. So that's a very important part of having your gunner. Yeah, extra firepower, extra person to go ahead and keep an eye out for you. In terms of keeping the tank alive, another important part of having your gunner is the fact that if he's an engineer, he can repair you when your tank gets damaged, obviously. Especially in between fights, even though you're not disabled, the tank is still damaged and it regenerates health rather slowly. So having him repair you, pretty paramount. It could be the difference between entering a fight with full health or 70% almost disabled. Also, you can have him repaired during a fight. We do that all the time. I'll get into an engagement with enemies. A lot of times I would have been killed if I didn't have my squad mate in there in back repairing. In terms of, I'm sure everybody knows about adding gadgets to the tanks. This is another distinct advantage, is the fact that the gunner and the driver can share their abilities. Let's take two things, for example, proximity scan and reactive armor. The driver itself has to decide, what do I want to pick? Do I want reactive armor or proximity scan? Well, if you have a gunner, that takes that away. As the driver, you can select reactive armor, and your gunner can pick proximity scan, so you've got both now. So being able to double up on things like that is another huge part of having your gunner. General other tips is to make sure, you both should have a mic. It's pretty important to be communicating. Obviously, if he can't point out things to you or tell you, hey, I'm down, or hey, I'm back here repairing, you otherwise might make choices that aren't good for the both of you. And this is two gunners, and I'm sure you've seen videos or other people talk about this, is don't fire when it's not necessary. Every time, if I'll get a random gunner in there, he'll just start firing away, and all this is doing is telling the enemy where you're coming from, and it definitely is detrimental to, if you're trying to sneak around or get a better angle on somebody, they're going to see you coming. So when you're in the tank with somebody, make sure you don't shoot unless you absolutely have to.
Another thing I wanted to throw in there real quick is what I always like to do, especially if I'm able to talk to my gunner, is tell them to watch whatever area you're not watching. So if they see that my big barrel is looking towards the flag, they should probably look in the opposite direction, and that way you're protected from people coming up and C4ing you, because that's a huge issue, especially on the tighter maps. So you need all the help you can get. Of course, putting proximity on it as well helps.
Yeah, definitely. When you're surrounded, especially on maps like CN Crossing or Nosher Canals, where somebody can just come out of nowhere, proximity scan is definitely a huge help.